Okay, so then and now, advice to entrepreneurs. All right, so just remember, back then is 1997, 1998, now is now. Okay, so this is the difference in advice to entrepreneurs. Back then, the foundation of most entrepreneurs was cleverness. Cleverness meaning, oh, let's see, we got drunk one weekend, and we figured out that there are 300 million people in the United States. Roughly 1 out of 5 owns a dog. So that means there's 60 million dogs or so. Okay? Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. That's 120 million cans of dog food per day. How hard could it be to sell 1% of that dog food through our website every day? So let's start dogfood.com. We'll disintermediate the brick and mortar pet food store. Okay? That's an idea of cleverness. Today, the foundation of a company is technology. That's why I'm speaking at the engineering school, okay? Because it's all about technology. Early stage investors want to invest in stuff that is made out of technology. I tell our people at Garage, if I, Guy Kawasaki, psych major at Stanford University, can understand the technology behind the company is not viable. Okay? If I'm clueless, that is a good sign. All right? Second thing is the priority. Back then, the priority of a company was to build a brand. That's why people advertised on the Super Bowl. You were going to capture 12 million eyeballs. If you captured 12 million eyeballs, somehow you'd be able to monetize that brand. Okay? That is no longer the priority at all. The priority is to build a business. It is all about business. We have gone from a world based on PowerPoint to a world based on Excel, if you will. Okay? It's gone from pitching businesses to actually doing business. In fact, more accurately, we have gone from a world built on PowerPoint to a world built on Great Plains accounting. Okay? The third thing is the financing. Back then, financing was raise more money. Don't worry. Capture the 12 million eyeballs. We'll figure out the business model later. It is a land grab. Grab as much of the internet as possible. If you grab a lot of the internet, we'll find a revenue model. We can always raise more money. There's, $20 billion sitting on the sideline. It's no problem. We'll raise no money. Now it's bootstrap. Bootstrap meaning use friends, fools, and family money. Use your credit card. Make people pay for beta testing. Do whatever you have to do. I would still recommend you go through the Office of Technology Licensing. Don't do anything unethical. But basically, you have to bootstrap. It's a very difficult world. The fourth thing is the key employees. Back then, the key employees were MBAs. These MBAs, they drove a German car. They used Brute. They had their ears pierced. Those were the fundable entrepreneurs. When people said we wanted a serial entrepreneur a few years ago, it was spelled C-E-R-E-A-L. They still eat Captain Crunch. Today, when they say serial entrepreneur, it's S-E-R-I-A-L. It's an entrepreneur who's done it more than once. So the key employee back then was an MBA. If you work for a summer for McKinsey, that's all you really had to do. You work for a summer at McKinsey, pierced ear, cornflower blue shirt, drive a German car, that's it. You're fundable. Today, the key employee is an engineer. It's you guys. Obviously, I cannot give this speech on Saturday at Stanford Grad School of Business. To further limit my options with this speech, I'll tell you, one of the questions that many, many people ask me is, how do you figure the valuation of a company? Because obviously, the higher the valuation, the less of the company you sell when you raise money. And so you know about Moore's Law, right? And now I'm going to tell you Kawasaki's Law. Kawasaki's Law is as quantifiable and as valid as Moore's Law. Okay, this is Kawasaki's Law for figuring out the valuation of a technology startup. You take every full-time engineer. That engineer is worth $500,000. Take every full-time MBA. You subtract $250,000. Right? Now you laugh. You think I'm being facetious. But generally speaking, look at tech startups. $500,000 for an engineer, subtract $250,000 for an MBA. If you have an engineering degree and an MBA, you net out at $250,000. Okay? That's how you figure pre-money valuation. Got that? How many of MBAs in here? So, I do too. Don't get me wrong, I do too. So there's negative $2 million right here.
We know you're right, even those of us who have MBAs.
Yeah. Now, getting the word out. Back then, we got the word out with advertising, right? Super Bowl commercial. Get 12 million eyeballs. Today, it's PR. The difference between PR and advertising is this. Advertising, you basically pay for. You know, you're buying the space, you're buying the ad. PR is where you get other people to say good things about you. Now, to do PR, you have to have a good product or service, minor detail. But that's the key, that you really want people talking about you. You want journalists talking about you. As far as leverage, which is sort of related to this, before there was this sort of concept of technology as leverage. And let's disintermediate all the parties that don't add value. Let's take them out of the chain. Today it's very different. It's all about evangelism. Evangelism, for those of you not familiar with the term, is the process of selling people on your dream. It is getting people to believe in your dream as much as you do. It is your dream because you believe that your product or service is a way to make the world a better place. Okay, so it's not about I'm a stockholder. It's not about I'm an employee. It's not about I'm getting paid to rep this thing or sell this thing. It's because you see this product or service as a way to make the world a better place. So evangelists are unpaid. They want to do it to make the world a better place. An evangelist is much more powerful than a salesperson. To this day, Apple Computer is doing okay because of its evangelism, not because of the sales effort. Okay? So what you want to do is recruit evangelists, not sales. The seventh thing is the scope of a company. Back then, it was to think global. It was to have an office in every city, that the sun would never set on a startup, okay? Because it's a global economy. Okay? To put it mildly, it's now about acting local. It's about getting your sales done in your local area. If you can't sell in Silicon Valley, you won't be able to sell anywhere else. You've got to act local. You've got to sell local. You've got to prove your model local before you even think about taking it to Asia or Europe. The eighth thing is the business development. Back then, business development was all about alliances. Everybody would announce alliances. Alliances with Stanford, alliances with IBM, alliances with Oracle, alliances with Microsoft, alliances with Andersen Consulting, alliances with Enron, alliances with everybody. It was because nobody really had good business development, business models. So since you don't have a model, you're capturing 12 million eyeballs, you better announce an alliance to blow some smoke. Okay? So today that's changed. Now everything is about revenue. Just revenue. When all the dust settles, it's about revenue. It's not about alliances. Partnerships don't mean crap. Okay? It's revenue. You're either doing business or you're not. The ninth thing is the raison d'etre of a company. Back then it was liquidity. Trixie and Biff at the front desk have figured out they're going to be millionaires. That's in 18 months, if it takes that long. The reason for a company is not liquidity. The reason for the company is passion. That your search engine, that your router, that your debugger, whatever you're building, it's about passion because you love it. If you love it and you change the world, you will be rich. But you shouldn't do it because you want to be rich, because it's not lofty enough a goal. It's about changing the world. Now, there are cases of people who changed the world who didn't make a lot of money. I must admit that. But there are lots of people who set out to only make a lot of money who didn't change the world and didn't make a lot of money. Right? So if I were you, I would pick changing the world and just have the optimistic belief that if you do change the world, you will make money too. 10th thing is the big picture. And the big picture is, back then, the advice to entrepreneurs was build me the next big thing. And I have to tell you, this is one source of goodness. I still think the big picture is building the next big thing. That today, even today, people who are building companies, you should be building the next big thing. Don't just do things that are 10 or 15% better or 25% better. Man, do something at least 10 times better. You know what? You got nothing to lose. Do something 10 times. Don't be chicken shit and do something 10% better. Go for it. Just go for it. Because you know what? I mean, I work for Apple in the Macintosh division. That was going for it. That wasn't making a slightly better Apple II. That was going for it. And when you go for it, even if you fail, man, it's so exciting. And it's almost better to fail at something grand than to succeed at something marginal. Just go for it. Okay? So that's then and now for entrepreneurs.